Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of the NLBC News, where we cover exciting stories from virtual YouTubers, with science, technology, and gaming, but we butcher all of the words and are totally not funny. Today we have some exciting stories, and our first one here is one from the scientific community, and it has to do with zombies. Newly discovered fungi turns flies into zombies. Capcom upset that scientists released new zombie variant in upcoming Resident Evil 8 without permission. Did you think human zombies were scary? Well, hold on to your knickers, kids. Introducing zombie flies. The two species of fungi that have this curious property, able to turn zombies or flies into zombies, are the Strongyloea tigrianae and the Strongyloea acaricosa. Bless me. The species of flies this is effective on are the Conocea tigrine and the Conocea testicea, which look like ordinary houseflies but undergo a mutation when they are invaded by the fungi. So how does this happen, you may ask? The fungi makes the zombie flies by attacking the fly's exterior. With its spores, the spores then eat a hole into the abdomen of the flies, which in turn plant more spores. This makes the zombie flies produce more spores, and as the zombie flies fly around, you know, this kind of yellowish, like, Cheeto dust just kind of flies out of their holes, their abdomen holes, and are spread around when they fly, and especially when they mate, with other flies remaining alive for days during the process. Now, I know some animals have low dating standards, but I never would have thought that a species would stoop so low as to mate with another of its species that is possessed and has bloody holes in its chest, as well as ooze a mysterious orange liquid substance. Just imagine you're flying around the forest, just got done having a nice meal with your mates at the local pub, aptly named the Dead Carcass, and you see this emaciated fly flying your way as it drips what looks to be like liquid Cheetos out of its stomach. And you just look at yourself and you think like, oh, hey mates, look at that sexy chunk of beef right there. Want him to spread his orange liquid on me. It's like, why? How? Look, it's not the Cheez-It crumbs they picked up from the house down the street. It's literally death spores. But of course you don't know that, because Fly Sex Ed never prepared you for this. Then, as you take your last breaths before you too become a zombie that had its abdomen falcon punched by a plant, you curse the school system you attended 4 hours ago for not teaching you better. What is the lesson here, may you ask? Get better sex ed, and don't be afraid to stick to your standards, kids, or you too might become a zombie. Like, just why? Why? I know flies are just like insects, but why? Do they have no type of natural instinct to stay away from things that are weird? I mean, I guess they eat poo for a living, so I don't know, maybe they think it's just good food. But it's gross. That's really gross. Like, ugh. Yeah, well, I guess if, you know, they live 24 hours normally, but if you get infected by a zombie, you live literally like hundreds of % longer than your normal lifespan. So, yeah, I don't want to know what would happen if these flies came to a dead human. I'm pretty sure it wouldn't work, because this fungi seems to only affect this species itself, but I don't want to find out. I don't want to find out. I don't want to have to kill you all. I'm quite fond of you all, so I don't have to kill you all. Alright, moving on to our next story. Speaking of humans. Human placentas evolved from an ancient virus, proving that anything is possible if you attack a creature with enough viruses that eventually help it evolve. As if the existence of life and the crazy varying methods of reproduction weren't enough, how about the idea that millions of years ago our ancestors possibly birthed eggs until we got infected by a virus? Well, it turns out that this might actually be true. Humans and placental mammals, animals and creatures that birth using placental, used to once upon a time lay eggs. But due to an invasion from a retrovirus millions of years ago, slowly evolved to birth using placentas instead of eggs. What is a placenta, you might ask? Well, the placenta is a temporary organ that develops in the uterus of a pregnant female during pregnancy. This structure, which is created by the baby and might be the greatest thing that child ever achieves in their lives, provides oxygens and nutrients to the baby and removes waste production from the baby's blood. So basically, it's a weird sack of jam that prepares the slimy toast that is a baby. So how did our ancestors evolve from laying eggs to using placenta to carry a newborn? Cat burp. Well, apparently the evolution is expected to have occurred around 150 to 200 million years ago. As reported by Ed Shong, a molecular cellular biologist who published the initial paper this report is based off of. Before this change, if you wanted to reproduce, you had to lay eggs. When evolutionary biologists mapped the genomes of cells from the placenta, they found that the protein that allowed these cells to fuse to a wall, called cytokinin, didn't look like it came from the human DNA, and instead resembles something closer to HIV. According to Shong, this protein actually came from an ancient retrovirus, the most famous, which is HIV. No, it is not actually HIV, it's just a virus from the same class. Let's make that clear. So, the virus broke into our ancestors' bodies, and instead of killing them, it said, hey, you don't want to lay eggs. No, you're going to reproduce using an alien egg sac from now on. And over millions to tens of millions of years, our ancestors slowly stopped laying eggs. Which, to that I say, screw you, virus. I didn't ask to stop laying eggs. Maybe I want to birth a lot of egg children and see which one could break out of its shell first and give them the title of Skullbreaker. Now babies just kind of slurp out of the human body and flop into a doctor's arm like a slimy eel. What cool title am I supposed to give them now? Space Jam? Wait, that's actually kind of a cool name. Huh. Well, but still, I mean, I wanted to lay eggs, and I never asked you to make decisions for me, Dad. Gosh, I just wanted to lay eggs. I mean, who wouldn't want to lay eggs? That's so cool. But no. We have to birth babies using placenta. Exactly. You could egg people's houses, with your own eggs. Laying human-sized eggs sounds extremely painful. What? Women literally push something the size of a watermelon out of a hole the size of not a watermelon. Like, it's gonna be painful either way, but at least, you get that, like, time where you just birth the egg and then boop, you don't even have to, you don't have to carry this thing inside you, you just poop out the egg and then, wait for it to hatch. Look, all I'm saying is I want to lay eggs. With shells. Alright. Moving on to our next game. Or to our next story, which has to deal with a game. expected game of the millennia, and the quoted holy grail of all video games, I Am Jesus Christ, reaches its 1-year development stage as it prepares to launch on Kickstarter. Power fantasies wake up. The true Power Fantasy video game character is about to be resurrected, and his name is Jesus. Why would anyone want to play as a superhero or a silent walking heavy for great who eats demons for breakfast as he tears out their hearts for snack time, when you can play a boring man in a toga who makes fish and turn water into wine? Well, now you can fulfill this fantasy in the newest game in development, I Am Jesus Christ, where you play as Jesus, doing Jesus things, in the Jesus way. Want to turn water into wine? Bam! Just wave your hands like some discount musician and you got fresh wine. Not saying Jesus caused the whole alcohol problem, but he might have. Want to heal the blind? Bam! Just wave your hands in front of them and cure them of their blindness so that their first vision is a man who has not showered or shaved in months, smiling at them creepily with weird glowing hands. Unfortunately, though, the ending of this game has been horribly spoiled by the Bible. Those unthoughtful gits. And we all know that Jesus dies in the end. So what's the purpose of the game? Well, to be Jesus, obviously. We at the laboratory will probably not be playing this game, unfortunately, but we would play games where the main characters are replaced with Jesus. I mean, who wouldn't want to play Jude Eternal, where you go around murdering demons with your baptized flamethrower gun, or BFG? Or what about racing around the Nürburgring Nordschleife track in your Honda Civic, blaring the metal version of Come All Ye Faithful, and the game Need for Good Deed, hot food for you too. Who wouldn't want to play as Jesus and Call of Duty Modern Savior, throwing holy hand grenades and turning the blood of his enemies into wine as they are subjected to the torture that is instantaneous alcohol blood poisoning? Crazy people, that is who. I mean, just look at him. This is the savior we need. Actually, no. This is the savior we need. I mean, just look at those. Just look at that stature, those rippling muscles, and that gun. The BF Jesus, yes. Like, this is what we need in our life. Rewrite the Bible, Christians. Make him the Doomslayer. That's a religion I'll follow. None of this, helping people by being nice. Just murder demons. Murder all your enemies. In the most atrocious and over-the-top ways possible. Now that's a savior I can get behind. Also, look at Big Man Jay driving around in his Honda Civic, rip and tear for Jesus. Instead of those bracelets, what would Jesus do? It's rip and tear for Jesus, RTFJ. That'd be great. I'd have all of those. I'd have his poster. I'd have a shirt that says rip and tear for Jesus. Like, that'd be great. All right. Upcoming merch. Rip and tear for Jesus shirt. So, moving on to our last couple of stories, we move into the virtual YouTubing scene. So, some of you might not know that a event went on this past week called AGDQ, our Awesome Games Done Quick, which I will explain what that is in a moment. Chair G Table becomes the first virtual YouTuber in history to be featured in the Awesome Games Done Quick charity event. Every year, a charity is held commonly known by the name Awesome Games Done Quick, or AGDQ, where gamers from around the world come to watch as the best speedrunners play games for charity. Usually the event is held at physical venues, but this year is held online due to the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. And what better to include but a virtual pandemic that has exploded across the world this year, known as virtual YouTubers. On January 3rd of this year, Chair-G Table became the first Vtuber to be featured at AGDQ as they showcased and played Super Ledgehop Double Laser, and simultaneously pushed thousands of viewers around the world into the rabbit hole that is virtual YouTubers. I'm losing my voice. Perfect. Let's do this. We here want to congratulate Chair-G Tables on being featured in this prestigious event, and wish them the best of their career as a speedrunner, which is also known as masochism. Because you have to be a masochist. So, that was quite a short story, but moving on to our last story. Popular cyborg and trash compactor, Radionite, prepares to debut later today. Comcast internet provider leaks plans to sabotage debut. For those of you that may not know already, the newest addition to the second generation talents for the Project Livedream group will be debuting later today at 6 PM CST on their channel over at twitch.tv/Radionite. Some of you may remember Radia from the past, but she has returned with new updates and many upgrades to her looks. Here you can see the cyborg parts, the mechanical brain, ears, arms and legs, the fleshy bits like other leg, tummy, kidneys, liver, veins, lungs, lymph nodes, salivary glands, appendix, other arms, abdominal section, lymphatic glands, bladder, heart, intestine, stomach, you actually can't see many of those. Those are inside. There's one part though, on the outside, that is a mystery. Looking closer here, we can see on her front view, if we look on the left front, that where the human belly button normally resides, there is this curious blue diamond circled with a heart along with the text, "Don't ask." Well, dear Radia, you obviously don't know the internet, because everyone will ask now. Why? Well, what could it be, you may ask? Well, here at the laboratory we have a list of possibilities of what this curious diamond might be. Here we go. A blue Lego piece that has somehow been lodged and slowly formed into belly button piercing, the Sapphire Chaos Emerald, a USB 3.0 port, a sapphire mineral itself, the lost city of Atlantis recreated into tiny gem art, an alien egg, the last piece of the kid-shaped puzzle that Sally has been looking for years, a small pharmaceutical drug which could be used in case of capture by enemy forces, the Space Infinity Stone, an Ethernet port, the reset button, cyborg belly button, or finally a port for downloading food memes directly to the stomach. Whatever this curious piece of the cyborg this may be, we wish Radia the best in her debut tonight, and you guys should go check her out. Give her some love. So, that is all for tonight for the NLBC News. Thank you all for joining me on another exciting episode of Butchering the Words, where we get all the words wrong and can barely speak, and also lose our voice. Next week we'll be back with another exciting episode on Tuesday, and I hope you look forward to that coming next week. Alright. That is it for me today, and I will see you guys on the other side.